Hello everyone, I am Nilamadham Mahapatra. I work as a lead data scientist with Geotab. Today I am going to present my paper estimating the instantaneous survival rate of digital advertising in marketing IDs lifespan by Cox Proportional on behalf of my co-authors Humail Makhija and Swapna Sahu. This is our agenda. Okay, so let's discuss what is a digital advertising and digital marketing IDs. These are often called as device IDs, which are used to target a particular user in the digital ecosystem. This can be an Android ID, this can be an iOS ID, or this can be a cookie or any browser cookies or so on. Now, to understand the ID even better, we attach different profile information like such as age, gender, and all those things, so that the targeting would be much more efficient. Now let's discuss what problem we have. So for each user, we have different kind of IDs, and we have somewhere around billion users in our profile store. Now we have no information whether a particular ID is active at a particular time or not, but we have to keep everything in our store. So if we keep everything for a longer time, it will increase the load to the downstream task. But if we keep it for less number of time, we'll lose the volume quite fast. So how to solve the problem? So traditionally people use a TTL based mechanism like 90, 120 or 180 days to churn the users. But TTL based mechanism have severe problems. Like it assumes all the IDs in our profile store have similar kind of lifetime, which may not be true. And estimating a perfect TTL for your data store is actually tedious, and it actually falls down to the same problem of like you may be keeping the ID for a longer time, or you may be keeping the IDs for a lesser amount of time. So how to solve this? So when you look at a solution, we're actually looking at estimating the lifetime or whether an ID is active or not for each ID, and we assume that the lifetime is actually different for each of the user, and the solution should be definitely efficient than any TTL based mechanism, and it should save a lot of computation and storage cost, as well as it should be incremental in nature. So the reason why we are looking at a feedback based mechanism, because our hypothesis is the ID is being active or not, or the whole lifetime of a particular ID is dependent on covariates like gender, age, device ID, bitstream frequency, operating system, and all those things. So we wanted to learn these things from the feedback so that we can estimate the life for a particular user more accurately. To solve this problem, we use a survival model. We use Cox proportional based Hazard model to solve this, which need set of covariates and a duration parameter. But for our case, we didn't have an explicit duration parameter. So the question is how to solve this duration parameter wala thing. Then to solve this, we have relationship with DSPs. DSPs are nothing but who actually serve the IDs, like who actually serve the advertisements to the IDs in the real time. So we collected the data from DSPs for our 600 days, and we put them into different buckets, like 10 days of streaming bitstream data into a bucket and created Bloom filter. And if you wanted to know a particular ID is active or not, you just hit the Bloom filter and you will get, okay, this ID was active for this period or not. And now for training and validation, we segregated the data from 600 days to 200 days, that is the training data, and 200 days to 0 day, that is basically our validation data. Now from this Bloom filter, we try to come up with different duration parameters, so called as life, max hop, and mean hop. If you look at this diagram, you would see ID1 and ID2 are actually there in 0 to 10 days window. ID1 was there in 10 to 20 days window. ID1 and ID2 was there in 20 to 30 days of window. So active list is nothing but a window where this ID was present. And if you want to calculate life, this is basically the latest value minus the earliest value. Max hop means the largest jump it actually makes. 0 to 20 is 20 days, 20 to 30 is 10 days, so the max hop is 20 days. And mean hop is basically the mean of those jumps this is 20, this is 10, and we have 15. So we have these three things which can be used for duration parameter. If you look at this curve, Kaplan-Meier curve, you will see life is actually kind of linear, and max-up is actually prone to outliers. Means if one ID has a really big jump, it can actually change the dynamics for all the IDs. So we choose mean hop as our duration parameter. So now we have covariates like age, DPCT, frequency of app update, gender, and device OS, and we have device duration parameter as mean hop. So now we can train our Cox proportional based model. This is the Cox proportional based model on all these covariates. And if you look at the outcome, we got somewhere around 0.9 concordance score. And the variable, if you see the association of variable with the hazard, you see frequency of app update and age have least effect on the hazard rate. Whereas gender, male and female are associated with 18 to 22% of hazard. And device IDs which have operating system like Android and iOS have actually negative effect on the hazard rate, whereas BlackBerry, Windows, Linux have actually positive effect on the hazard rate, means they actually live longer. So even DPCT have association with higher risk. So if DPCT is associated with increasing the hazard rate by 10%. So now it boils down to comparing our Cox proportional based model with the TTL based model, which is basically very standard for the different organizations. And we also compare this method with classification based mechanism to see how well Cox proportion based model is performing with respect to other methods. These are some terminologies. And we actually calculate our efficiency with respect to mean error reduction. Error is something like if ID has an age of, let's suppose, X days, and we are pruning it before X or after X, the absolute difference is actually the error. So that is how we are actually computing how well our method is performing. This is basically different set of data on which we try to see the robustness of our model, and you can see that on an average for a particular user we are making somewhere around 40 to 50 days of error per user. So means either we are underestimating or overestimating over a day of 50 days. Now let's see how good or how bad this 50-day is with respect to the traditional methods. So if you compare it with the TTL based methods of 90 days or 120 days or 180 days, you can see their error is somewhere around 200 days or 220 days or something of that sort, and we are reducing the error by 78% to 67% to 78%. And if you say we have a life information in our hand, and we take the expected value of life as a TTL parameter. Even if you take that thing as your TTL, then also you are going to have error rate somewhere around 107 days, and there is an error reduction of 54% if you go with Cox proportion based model. Now if you look into this graph, this becomes more clear. You see the Cox proportional based model has least error, and it stands at I think somewhere around 49 to 50 days, and all the other methods tend to disperse from this place, means they have higher, they are associated with higher mean absolute error rate. Now if you say we want to conclude what we got from this whole experiments, we got to know that from Cox proportion based hazard model we can estimate the lifetime of a particular ID, and this estimation is actually unique for each user, and we reduce the error rate somewhere around at least 50% to 80% if you go with traditional TTL based methods. After doing so, we are able to remove somewhere around 10 to 15% of IDs from our ID store, which is basically all the downstream tasks and all the pipelines are now having 10 to 15% of less data. and obviously we are not compromising more on the quality, and the volume is also intact. And this also gives us a lever key when you want to delete your ID. It means we delete a particular ID if the survival chance goes below a particular threshold. So if you want to go easy with your deletion process, you can actually lower the threshold, and if you want to go steep with your decision, you can actually increase the threshold. In that way you can actually play around with this lever. And in future we are actually trying to automate this stuff where the threshold would be picked up by the system itself, not to be hand tuned by us. So in future we are looking at how we can automate the system. So thank you, and I would like to answer your question if you have any. Thank you.